And then Scout said, uh-oh, they're catching up to us. And just like that, when Scout says, they're chasing after us. Come on, Lucius, go faster. Then Wally says, there they are. Okay, Bob Goblin, get ready to grab him. 3, 2, 1, grab. And then Scout said, oh. Then Scout said, they got that tree from me. Where Wally says, we did it. We got that tree back. And then Bob Goblin asks, zipline, Jack. And then Libby asks, wow, nice catch, Wally. Then Scout said, and
욕심을 숨기라니 말들은 이상해 얌전한 연기 같은 건 더 이상 안 해.
Just like that, when Scout says, I'll get you next time, Wally Schroman, Normal Schroman, Bob Goblin, and Libby Lightsprite. And then Wally asks, now, let's put that tree back. Where Wally says, there, back where it belongs. And then Scout said, I don't think so, Wally Schroman. Well, maybe you could catch me, where Scout says, but you can't tell me what to do. And
가지마 forever win again 에이 가슴 밖에 숫자 일어나게 에이 내 밑으로 좋아 린세게 에이 Take the world, break it down, break it down, down Baby, just highway, highway 멋진 결말에 닿게 내 흉지도 나의 일부라면 겁이 난 언제 What you looking at, what you looking at What you looking at, what you looking at What you looking at, what you looking at I'm fearless, huh? You should get away, get away 같이 지나게, 같이 지나게 You should get away, get away I'm fearless, I'm fearless, huh? Turning off so bad, 준비 끊어, baby Bring it, turn to make it I'm fearless, huh? What you looking at, what you looking at What you looking at, what you looking at What you looking at, what you looking at I'm fearless, huh? You should get away, get away 같이 지나게, 같이 지나게 You should get away, get away I'm fearless, huh?
just like that, when Scout says, but you can't tell me what to do. Now, stick around, find out. Catch me if you can. Then Libby Lightsprite said, after that cat. And then Wally and the others and normal Bob Goblin Libby starts chasing after Scout. Around and around in circles. Bob Goblin says, and then through the doors. And it looks just like this Scooby-Doo door chase where they run back and forth. Libby says, we can't catch up to her. She's too fast. Then Wally says, yeah, she's got super speed. And then Stand Up the Swamp says, hey, stop that. Then he said, Stand Up the Swamp. Then Wally asks, I wonder what's wrong. Wally asks, Stan, is everything alright? Then Stan asks, everything's not alright. Some cat just jumped in my swamp and said, I want to be the Mighty Queen. Then Scout asks, that'll be me, of course. And then Stan asks, yep, that's her. Then he say, Mighty Queen Scout. And then Scout asks, that's right, Wally Schroman, Normal, Bob Goblin, and Libby Lightsprite. Since I have all powers, how about you all get zapped by my laser? Then Libby said, uh-oh, run. Then Scout said, ha 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 ha. And then Scout asked, stay still. Then Scout asked, hold still so I can zap you. And then Scout asked, you can't run away from me. Also, Scout starts singing a song called Happy Mighty Queen Day. During the song, Scout says, hold still so I can zap you. And after the song, Libby says, oh boy, they have us surrounded. And then Stan asks, tell me about it. And then Scout asks, Bandmates, turn into your dragon forms. And then Bob Goblin says, uh-oh, can this day get any worse? Wait a minute, every time Bob Goblin says it, things are starting to get a little worse. See what I mean? And then Bob Goblin says, "You know!" And then Wally says, "Whoa, they turn into dragons and are trying to fire us." And then Scout asks, "Don't let them escape. Keep breathing fire and keep zapping." Where Scout says, "I'll try to freeze them." Then Libby asks, "Look out!" Where Wally says, "We need a magic word. Well, gone or zero, but which one starts with the letter Z? Gone or zero?" And then Wally says, "Yeah, zero. It starts with the letter Z and the Z sound. It's a magic word." Twice. Then Libby asks, "Hurry, Wally." Then Wally says, "Wally Kazaa, Wally Kazee. Let's make Scout and her spammate's powers gone." Then Scout says, "My powers, they're gone." Then Scout says, "Ah!" Oof. Then Scout asks, "Spammates, transform into your dragon forms." Then Scout asks, "Yours are gone too?" "Well, I still have my powers, right?" "My powers, they're gone." "What?" Then Scout asks, "Aha, my beautiful tiara." And then Wally says, "Sorry, Scout, that tiara's not yours anymore. That's Rarity's tiara." And then Scout said, and then said, "Oh, right." And then Wally asked, "Can you believe it? Scout and her spammates lost their superpowers, and we got Rarity's tiara back." And then Scout said, "Hey, that's no fun. Give me back my tiara." Wally asked, "Sorry, Scout, that's Rarity's tiara. Her mother gave that to her." Then Scout asked, "Oh, yeah, why? Oh, yeah, right. This cat wonders why she got superpowers." Then Scout asked, "Oh, well, this cat doesn't want Rarity's tiara. This cat will find a different tiara. Good day." Then Scout asked, "Oh, I'm the queen." Then Lavender Lady says, "No, you're not." Then Scout said, or in the episode of When Super Kitties Attack, Trixie Lunamoon says, wait for it. And then one of his kitties says, and then Trixie asks, "Quiet, kitties.